Hi, this is Elliot Wave Sage. I want to go ahead and do a market update. Like always, none of this is financial advice, so always do what's best for you. Just use this for your education and entertainment purposes only. Okay, so the market keeps pumping. What I think is happening is every bear is trying to top tick the market, and then they fail and get blown up or short squeezed, and then this just continues and continues, and then as it goes higher, it just keeps trapping more chasers to push it even higher. So we're going to get these kind of violent pullbacks, I think, from here on out. Maybe like what we're going to see in the futures. Perhaps we get another violent pullback, down like that, and then but we make another higher high, and a violent pullback and a higher high. So I think that's kind of the type of market we're going to see, and then at some point after all those violent pullbacks, the market will have finished its sequence for a much bigger drop or possibly X. But I mean, my guess is the Dow is telling me there's more upside left in this market because the market, if will go higher if the Dow is going to go higher, right? Look, here you made another higher high swing. You broke this high, so now you have three. You really need to move, even if this is a WXY, and then you'll break this high most likely. And again, we haven't done this yet, but it seems pretty likely. And then you'll have another three swings, and then you'll break the all-time high. So what is going on? Well, I think to me, it's something, like this, right? A W, an X, and a Y. And we've seen this pattern time and time again in the market, history of the market, this pattern. Up, we make a new high somewhere around here, and then we come back down and break this low for the end of the correction, and then we moon. So this is the flat type correction. If you guys have been following me, we've seen that also in one of our stocks that everybody asks me about all the time, AEHR, right? I think that's the one. And it does, it's not an indice, but look, it's the same idea. You pump, and then you crash, and then you rip. This is probably what the world markets and our markets are going to do. The B may make a marginal high, could just fall below it, or it could do something like this. Now, if you look back, like I was looking back in time, because you also have the Japanese indices about to break out, and I wanted to see after the massive bubble of the Great Depression, how did our indices break out of that bubble, right? That had gone on for years and years and years, and I wanted to kind of take a look at that and see what transpired, because that could also tell us, what would happen. And as you can see, we had the bubble, and then we pulled out, and we're kind of like Japan, right? Japan is like this, and then it pulled up, it had a pullback, but it really never looked back for years. And so that's one thing to keep in mind, because if Japan is going to replicate this, then the world markets, it could be supported by the international indices. But anyway, that's a different story. But what I'm looking at is, again, look at this fractal. If you were trading back in the 1950s and early 60s, you would have had a correction, and you would have been like, oh, we need more low. It's an incomplete swing, right? We have today. It's incomplete, but then you get this rip, right? Look at this rip, guys. It's like straight up. Look at these monthly candles. Up, 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 up. Crash. This is what I suspect is going to be our fractal for this series, and I believe we're somewhere in this part of the right now. We're like here, okay? We're like there. So this is what I think is going to happen. So what does that mean? Am I bearish? Yes. Could I be wrong and it just crashes and finishes? Yes. Do I think it's going to just go to the moon? No. Do I think I should just short and be in the negative? No. I should wish I do. Trade. You take longs and shorts. longs and shorts. I bought Adobe, before earnings. It was posted. I wasn't paying attention, given what these markets are doing now, especially with Nvidia, and I knew AI, the theme. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go play that. So I got to start playing alongside, and I've been doing that. And I told you guys the Dow had a good chance for a day like today, and it did. That was really nice to see that follow through, and we'll go through some of the stocks later. But let's go back to where we are today and where things are going. I mean, if you look at it from an Elliott wave count standpoint, we should be finishing fours and fives, but the problem is we keep extending, erasing divergence, right? So here you are. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Clear impulse, a massive correction, finished cycle. So this cycle is done. You made a new high. Now you're in a new cycle. You're in a new cycle, right? So if I look at this cycle, 1, 2, 3, 4, some kind of 5. You have a little bit of divergence here. So this should pull back, and I think we're seeing that in the futures right now. We're seeing this pullback, right? We should see another 1, 2. So we could pull back, a couple 100 points, something like that. That's what the Elliott waves suggest to me right now. Is something to this effect. So for the time being, I'll just kind of eliminate this, and it's going to be some kind of ABC, and we're in C. And C, more than likely, will break this high, and then more than likely will crash like this. This is what's in store for us. Something like that. That's what I suspect we're going to see. So until we start to get that evidence, I think you have to just trade what you're given. Don't chase, and then don't be glued to one side or the other of the market. Now, until you break this high, it's still not all clear, but it seems pretty likely we're going to break that high. It just seems likely, and if we break that high, then it doesn't really matter. It's irrelevant what happens with the SPY, because it's just going to get carried. Even if tech corrects while the Dow runs, it's just going to correct. So now, could we be here in X? Could we be in a melt up? I don't know. I think it's going to still go higher. It could retest this all-time high, right? Why not? Now, if we look at where we are, short time frames, a little bit of divergence here. But more importantly, the cycle. Okay, so you have this cycle, May 25th, is going to come to an end soon. So we're going to correct this leg at some point. Eventually, it's not going to just go straight up. So when this corrects, and we could already be close to that moment, right? We could already be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it could drop all the way back down to 427. My take is, if that happens, it's a viable dip until otherwise, until otherwise proven, because of where the Dow is. I think that's how I'd play it. Now, if I get stopped out on that buy, fine. Now, would I short it here? No, I wouldn't short it here either. So here it is. Here's this mess. Now, one of the areas that's kind of a classic area for a connector to end is right here at 451. So that is one area that you really want to watch for maybe a surprise dump, a surprise Y wave, but keep an eye on that. But it's no guarantee. I think you have to be playing dips, having stop losses, and trade. You got to trade this market. Will it crash? Yes, it's going to. How long will this go on? I showed you it can go on, for a while, and it doesn't have to stop anytime soon. And I think they need the catalyst is needed. All right, so tech keeps pushing higher. Next area is 390. Again, nobody's selling. No real sellers are selling Nvidia, Apple, Tesla. Just day traders are selling it. So this should continue. Dips will continue to be supported until the narrative changes. IWM, I believe presents an opportunity to buy the dip. Buy the dip if it and that would be at 182, 181, 180. If it happens, it may not, right? It may not. Um, and again, IWM, I'm looking for this area I have highlighted here. So IWM, it seems likely it's got a pump coming out of this area. Okay, so China has been moving up. It obviously ended this correction, and it is now in a move higher. And if this happens, the dollar will go weaker, and this will support the world markets. It always does. I think it bottomed here in October, or drove it out. So I think, this is only going to add fuel to the fire. There's talk of stimulus, that they want to restart their economy. They have a lot of unemployment, youth unemployment. So people got their hopes up China's going to come save the day, and they might. And if they do, they can money print, pass inflation through to the U.S., and we could get another melt up, but it could be very inflationary with the weak dollar. And then Bitcoin, you still can make it down this low, but if you really look at this, you have three swings, and now you have three swings. Now within each swing, there's another swing. Here you don't really have it, so maybe there's another swing down. And let's look at the divergences. So there, that just shows you probably not finished. The correction is, the daily. Let's take a look. So from an RSI standpoint, very dangerous to try to short it here, because if you look, once the daily breaks, then the correction's over. But the 4-hour looks like, to me, it wants to drop again. So I think it's just like being patient and trying to see what the market's going to do. ETH is getting closer to this buy area, and then you have the others. I won't go through. Oil is confused. It's weak. If the dollar continues to weaken, oil will pump to 87 again, and energy will pump. This X wave will continue higher. And then gold broke its pivot and then got bought, immediately, like panic buy-in to save it. It has divergence. Now what's interesting is now I still see the cycle. So it's 5 waves down. So, I mean, you could try to say an A, B, C still and force that. I mean, I had 5 here, but maybe, it's a real mess. Gold's a mess. I think to me, the safe thing to do with gold is expect lower and buy and be ready to buy this dip here in this area. But that would require the dollar to strengthen. It'd give us a pretty healthy sell-off. Silver dropped and bought the dip. Again, I have this as a buy area 2090, but you really can buy against 2268. It's interesting. This has held up so far, and gold didn't hold up. Natural gas kind of pumped, like I mentioned, and oil too. Someone asked me about that. I said it had 5 up. It made a new high. It looks like it could still go higher, but then it'll be decision time for natural gas, and we'll see what happens. My guess is it's gonna end up lower, but if it could break this peak, then I would say it's more bullish. Then I say it's more bullish, and it could extend more. The 1 year, again, a lot of confusion. We had this like tried to break out and then pull back. So again, it could be another 1-2, another 1-2. The 2 year, again, it's just trying to grind higher. It's not going lower. We'll see. Then the dollar index dumped. So I think based on what I'm seeing, I'm going to say the X is here, and this is just like a 1-2 and lower. If this happens, then the market's going to go higher. I just don't see how the market won't go higher. This should pump a lot of things if this is going to happen over the next couple months. And I'm just not seeing the dollar getting up here. I think the dollar is going lower, guys. And if it is, then the market should go higher still. And the VIX is in a danger pattern that could have a breakout. So we could get a massive sell-off soon here. Inverse head and shoulders and breakout. So we could be getting a nice washout building, but sometimes it's done this and then failed. So no guarantees. Okay, so the futures are selling off. So like I said, what I think is going to start happening is you're going to get like you just saw here. You're going to get these dumps, and then everyone's like, oh, it's bearish. There it is. There it is. Oh, boom. No, it isn't. And it's going to dump. It's going to do that. It's going to dump. It's going to do that. It's going to get all these overlapping waves as it finishes up. And then at some point, it will reach its climax. And that will be the end of the correction. And down we go. But I do think it's going to keep just kind of doing that. So trade it. It's just the way the market is going. But there are short setups in the market, like 450 SPY is one. But I'm not taking the short side until I get a little more confirmation. And I want to see that volatility really start to spike. So now we're looking at like some of these bullish patterns. I want to show you a couple things here. So commodities. So here's the thing with oil and Devon and all these other producers. As long as we don't break these highs, it's still bearish. Like you see that. So this is telling you maybe there's more downside now. If we break up and we start moving up and we break these highs, then this is something different than what I have. So I would say energy to me, everything looks toppy, wants to go down, and I'm not ready to say, oh, go FOMO into energy quite yet. But I think the market's deciding what to do. But like I said, it still seems like it's all missing one swing, and then I think it's good to go. I don't really see any other setups in energy. Now the GDX is interesting. It's holding this pivot, so that's interesting. SIL holding a pivot. So just some things I'm noticing. So I'm just looking at it. So if the Dow is going to pump, all this will actually keep going higher. So that's why it's really a tough market to kind of gauge. I mean, energy to me still hasn't followed the pump, but if it starts going, this will make up and it will have a nice healthy gain. I was looking at this NRGU the other day. It's on a very important trend line that I feel needs to hold, as you can see. And every time it's tagged it, it's bounced, So it could bounce again. Energy could go higher. Now, I think if this downtrend line breaks, yeah, it's going to dump and energy will dump. So it's tough to say where energy's heading short term. Discretionary, guys gave you this Domino's Pizza one. I think is going to be in a bullish, connector for a while. Nothing else here. Still watching Wing. Still hoping to get it grind a little lower. Nike's starting to get bullish. And really, it's lagging. But I think it's waiting for earnings to make its move. Then consumer staples. AHR's pulling back in this 4 wave. Yeah, 4 wave. Celsius should be getting close to a bigger pullback. Again, buyable dip. This is a buyable dip. It could come back to 122. And looks like ammunition stock was doing well. I posted this a long time ago, guys, on my feed. This one finally starting to get a bid. Crypto. So GBTC, it's holding up in the buy area. You know, it's getting buyers. It's not really. It's good. It's holding. You know, LTCN is kind of holding. And they're way under NAV. So it's a good deal if you think you know Grayscale is going to be okay. Mara, want to see that dump? Well, we get it, and then Riot almost in the buy area. It's almost close enough where I'll just buy it anyway, and I'm buying for the long term, like the full cycle, crypto cycle, is what I'm doing. And of course, though, if Bitcoin's going to go to 12,000 and we get the really bearish scenario, I'll stop out at down here. And I think for ETFs, nothing in here. There's see some of the triple leveraged ETFs. So SQQ is a popular one, and see it's just blowing through support levels like nothing. So it just keeps. Nothing is just completely unraveling. So a lot of people probably bought this and not know what it is and how to trade it, and you can't hold it too long, and they just don't know. And now, I mean, if you look at the measured move, right, of this pattern, it tells you there's a lot lower to go, right? So this is dangerous now. The Fibonacci buy area, we're getting right up against. Did we hit it today? No, we're not there yet. I'll be at 1849. I do expect, and again, it hasn't been following this, but I do expect a nice reaction higher off of this level. You usually get it, not always, but usually get it. So if I want to short and I'm so inclined to short tech, this would be where I would pick it up right around here at that level. SOX showed this chart a long time ago. Let's see if divergence is erased. If it is, it's just going to keep extending, and it erased it. So it's another one too. So it was a 3-4, but see, this is what happens with divergences getting erased. So now you have a whole nother 1-2. So what does that tell me? Semiconductors are bullish, right? This is going to keep falling. So that means the market's probably going to keep higher. Now look, this is done. So this is going to get a pullback. So we should get a sell-off still, but it's just going to be a buyable dip if we even get this that I have here, a buyable dip. TZA is still in the buy area. You know, we'll see if it can surprise. The Russell could surprise to the downside. TNA showing the opposite. If we come out of this downtrend line, and again, this could be some kind of end in diagonal. This should come. We should be touching 69, and the Russell will pump. So if the Russell pumps, this will jump. So this could be a really good buy opportunity. So do what's best for you. That would imply TZA is going to fail and break this low. And if we do, if TZA breaks that low, then this is going to pump. SDAL. Once SDAL breaks 2340, that should open up the floodgates like it did with the NASDAQ. Going higher, Dow should go higher. And then this should see 2137, at least that. And SOXL looks like, again, it's in a 1-2-1-2 setup, or it could be in a WXY in a 1AB 1-2, and we just need to finish this impulse. But either way, it looks like it needs to go higher before it goes. It may still pull back higher. So that means the market should still continue higher. TQQ, the extreme sell area I have was 44.84. I thought we'd never get there when we were like having, playing around with that. It looks like that's where it's going. So technology could still push higher, even though the SQQ may be in a buy area. It may go a little deeper. SPXL hit a sell area based on 3 waves up today. But if here's your 4 wave, so there is another chance it could still push higher even than where it is right now, and that would be at 108. So again, it should get a sell-off where we are. We should get a sell-off, and it could be here, right? But if you look, 3 big swings, you really only have 1. So it's almost like you need 1 to another big swing higher. So perhaps we get another pullback like that, which is probably the most likely path, is something like this. So I'll just leave that up there. And again, I could be wrong. It just pump. I don't know. But I think this is where we're going with that. Want is a makeup trade. On the Fed news, when we sold off, I just market bought it. And this is how, again, I'm being a trader because I know people are just gonna go into that shit and chase it. So I'm just like market buy it, and it's been just going up, and it's just gonna keep going up from here for a while. And again, it could see 44. The EDC was another one I just market bought. It had been hanging around since October, doing really nothing, but it hadn't broke down, so it has a good setup for a good nice little ramp pump. So we'll hold on to that, and it was doing well. And that's ETFs. I want to cover financials. I don't, if the Russell's going to go higher, these financials should go higher too before they go lower. And healthcare. Let's see what we've got here. Again, mRNA is still struggling. We'll see where it goes. Nothing is interesting to me to chase or buy. If I was looking at AbbVie, the other at one point here, get in there. Now that could be it, but we'll see. Amgen may be finished here early. It'll be interesting to see if these are finished early or not. This healthcare sector. See, no good setups. Nothing was really dumped today. Sold off big. Let's see, requested. Let's go through the technology sector. AI is starting to just continue vertical. It hasn't erased divergence, so still be careful in it. But it's a buyable dip. If you get a big dip like this, I would probably want to buy that dip, but I'm not going to chase it. Forget that. And then Tesla, given this, you gotta now just call it an impulse. But I would still look for this 4 wave, and I think we're still in a 4 wave here. Someone said it dumped after hours, so perhaps the 4 wave can fill this gap here later and be a buyable dip here. A buyable dip for a trade for this move in 5. Apple is going to go blue skies, and of course, if Apple's going to go blue skies, then the market's just going to keep going higher. And again, do I expect Google to drop down here? I do, but then after that, I don't know where it's going to roll. It could just keep going with the market higher. It may trade differently, no idea, but I think it should go higher. And then I think Microsoft's going to be like Apple. It's going to follow suit and break. It's just going to, so I don't think shorting Microsoft should be something you do. I think it's just going to keep going higher. So if these become expanded flats, where's the max target for those? 381 would be for Microsoft, and Apple would be 197, just to give you an idea. So that's where these guys are heading. So until we get there, again, the market's going to, I think, be supported, whether we feel it deserves to or not. And then Facebook hit the buy area exactly almost to the penny and bounced. And the intensity of the correction, look at the cycle. We completed this whole cycle here and here. So it's a 5, we're in a 5 wave. So again, we have to kind of take this whole idea that some of these stocks are not going to make new lows, and now we're in a 5th wave of some kind like that. But again, divergence can get erased, and this could be just another one too. Wouldn't that be something? And Netflix, I've been telling you, this is where it's going. AMD, I think it's going to continue. It broke that low. It could continue lower, and this will be a buyable dip. NVIDIA broke the high, so now it's an impulse off the bottom. So now you have to consider it as it's not coming back to break that low, and more than likely, but it is about to have a bigger correction. And I do think at some point it fills this gap, but I should be pulling back in this wave soon, and it's a buyable dip, right? And I like the e-commerce because as people make a ton of money in the market pumping, they're going to start buying stuff, and that's just going to pump these e-commerce stocks. Again, I mentioned Chewy. It's just these things are just going to keep grinding higher. All these e-commerce stocks are just going to keep going higher, I think. And even Shopify may not come back down here. It's just going to keep coming. It's just the way it is right now. The mentality of the market is to just keep extending higher. This could have a big drop coming, these guys. So then just kind of scanning through things a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, BBAI gave you guys this. If you decided not to buy it, maybe trade-in wasn't for you. It was just the most obvious wedge that existed. But I mean, I do know it's hard to pull the trigger sometimes, but now I would just recommend letting it run. And Sound as well is another one that I think is about to have liftoff potential. And a lot of these were pumping. I think Space pumped. Yeah, a lot of these small caps are going to start pumping. And I mentioned that, So we'll see how it goes. That's all I've got today. So I think for the market standpoint, given the strength in the market, I think it's going to get even more stupid than people can contemplate. But I do think we got this rug pull coming, this rug pull, and it's going to destroy pretty much everybody. Because people that are going to chase here, they're going to get destroyed. The people that bought right now are going to get destroyed. And even the people that bought the dip down here are going to still be in the red. So everyone's going to lose when this finishes. And I guess until you get better evidence that the turn is in, I wouldn't try to guess it. I would just trade with the trend. And the trend's clearly higher. It's clearly higher, and there's really no known catalyst that I know of. No COVID, right? No nothing that I know of. But once a catalyst or something, then maybe that could change things. But I do think, the market's going to have some, violent moves down. But I think there's just going to be these dips are just going to keep getting bought, and people are just going to keep getting squeezed and squeezed and squeezed until there's some fundamental shift in the narrative, or some black swan comes out and rug pulls everybody. All right, guys, that's it. That's all I've got. Talk to you later.